Hey, what's up, guys? Today we got an interesting question from our buddy Jonathan. This is a question that I would normally answer on my strength training YouTube channel because it has a lot to do with the muscles. But because there's a bioenergetic component to my answer, I decided I'd put it on my Weird Elliot Said What YouTube channel. So the question is, Jonathan wants to know why his legs are always so tight. He goes on to describe how he can use his mind to relax the muscles, but the minute he takes his concentration off of relaxing the muscles, they go right back to being as tight as they were before. So that tells us a couple things. It tells us that you do have some sort of conscious control over your ability to tighten or relax those muscles, right? That's important to consider because if it was completely subconscious, we'd have a lot more digging to do. A lot of people have really tight muscles, but they don't know why. They just walk around saying, man, my neck is tight, my neck is tight. Little do they know that they're physically tightening their neck. Or my back always hurts. Little do they know that they're physically tightening their back. But you actually realize how you're doing this. The problem is, the minute you take your concentration off, it goes back. There are a couple things to consider. Number one, energetically, the legs are associated with grounding. You are standing your ground when you tighten your legs. So for example, my daughter, I've got 3 of them, I got 4 children, but when I yell at, I see this in 2 of my daughters, the older ones, when I yell at them, or I, not even yell, just tell them that what they're doing is unacceptable and you need to change your behavior, they become very upset and they stiffen their body. I see them do this, they go, I can see the legs drive back, the butt gets real tight, and they drive their arms down. They just do this. Basically, they're energetically shutting down. They basically decided, I don't want to receive what you're giving me, and I'm going to put up armor, and they tighten their bodies like that. So when you're in a situation where your personhood is being challenged, there may be a tendency from an early age, I'm watching my kids do it, hopefully I don't screw them up, but from an early age, to tighten the body, to then become subconscious. Tighten the legs to stand your ground. You're literally standing your ground. And then if the threat is consistently present, or you think it's consistently present, basically you're always worried that you're going to be challenged and you have to stand your ground, you're going to develop the habit of tightening your legs, right? So that's one to consider. The second one to consider, which may or may not be the case, is your experiences with potty training. If you were forced to hold your shit when you really needed to poop because, mommy needed to go to work and you had to go to daycare and the daycare wasn't going to take any kids, if they shit themselves, you've got to start figuring out how to tighten your ass so that you don't shit yourself at an early age. This is sort of impossible for some kids because the neuromuscular connection to the anus is not fully developed yet, right? You just can't do it. You just can't hold your poop like an adult does, and that's why kids shit themselves. But you try your best because you want to make mommy happy. So what you do is you tighten your legs, you tighten the muscles in your glutes, your hamstrings, your upper hamstrings, your hip flexors. You do whatever you can to kind of tighten. You tighten those muscles up so you don't shit yourself, right? And that again, over the course of weeks or months, you may have had to do that. It became ingrained in your nervous system and you carried it with you throughout life. Now you're an adult, I don't know if you're a teenager or you're in college, whatever the case may be, but now you're tightening those muscles that don't need to be tightened. So we've got to do 2 things. We've got to exhaust the muscle physically, and we've got to get out the bioenergetic or the emotional. When I say emotional, I mean energy in motion, emotion, the emotional tie to the activity, right? They get ingrained, they get stuck in us. So when my daughters get angry, they're stiffening the bodies because they're not going, I hate you, Dad, fuck you, Dad, They're not letting it out, right? And a part of that is because I probably squashed some of it before I understood how the body and the mind work together several years ago. So now I tell them, look, you can be angry. Go be angry. Go and stomp. That's one of the things that I invite you to do, and this is what I teach my children to do. Just stomp. Try that. Hopefully you can see me. I'm just stomping my legs. In one of my older videos that I use to describe my daily bioenergizer warm-up, you see that we finish like this. What we're doing doing is grounding the body, exhausting the legs, exhausting the body, but also letting go of emotional feelings, thoughts. Every time you, you're basically standing your ground. You're grounding your legs. If you do that, and what I would invite you to do that for like 15, 20 minutes, dude. You're going to exhaust the drive and the need to contract those muscles. They're just going to be so tired that you can't do it. And you're grounding. Or do like my children do. They just like to stomp the ground. I send them upstairs and they stomp up the stairs. This is good. Do that. Let out the sound associated with it and exhaust the muscle with the exercise. The other one that I would invite you to do, so there's stomping, and then there's throwing a temper tantrum, like kids normally would, but they're not allowed to, so it gets stuffed down and causes a lot of that muscular tension. Defiance is one of our rights as human beings, and our defiance gets stuffed because parents don't like you to behave in a defiant fashion, right? But it's still in there. And you have guilt associated with squashing it yourself after your parents no longer rule your lives. So what you've got to do is act out that defiance with a temper tantrum. I'll throw one here for you to see. Lay down on your bed. Act out the temper tantrum. Use your legs. Slam your legs down hard. Get it all out. Exhaust the muscle. Get rid of the emotional ties to that tension, and your legs will soften up, dude. Keep me posted. I hope this was fun and informative for everyone. I'll talk to you next time.
Elliot's sick. What?